Hey, I'm not famous, but I talk about people who are, and today I'm talking about Tory Lanez, who has now spoken out for the first time since being stabbed nearly to death in prison. Tory was given an exclusive interview with NBC, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go over the article really quick before I play the news clip. So the article says, Tory Lanez is seeking freedom from prison as his attorney alleges records in Megan Thee Stallion's civil defamation suit against Milagro revealed that there may have been evidence that was never turned over during his 2022 shooting trial. He said, I believe not only that I was wrongfully convicted, but the amount of new evidence that has emerged since that trial, I think, has been overwhelming. Lanez told NBC News on Wednesday in his first broadcast interview from behind bars. Lanez, whose legal name is Daystar Peterson, is serving a 10-year prison sentence. Meg Thee Stallion testified that Peterson shot her in the foot in July 2020 as they were leaving a party hosted by Kylie Jenner in LA. He has maintained his innocence since the incident came to light in 2020. California's Second District Court of Appeal denied Lanez's appeal last month after it found no effective assistance of counsel or prejudicial trial court error. But his legal team said Wednesday it plans to file a new appeal to the California Supreme Court, which would include allegations of a Brady violation. The Brady rule, established in 1963, requires prosecutors to turn over material or potentially favorable information to the defense. Lanez is also requesting either a pardon or clemency from California Governor Gavin Newsom. More than 3 years after his conviction, Lanez says he's in a place of healing and doesn't want his words to be taken as an attack on Megan. He said, when I talk about my case, I don't want it to be taken as me coming at her because it's not that. Lanez said from the California Men's Colony, a prison in San Luis Obispo. I'm just asking for somebody in the system to look at my case and look at the evidence and ask if that was fair. During the 2022 trial, Megan testified that she sought medical treatment for her gunshot wound and required surgery to remove bullet fragments. Her surgeon also testified, but the fragments were never presented as evidence. Megan won a defamation lawsuit. Okay, I'm just going to stop there really quick. Sidebar. Megan did not win the defamation lawsuit last month against Milagro Grams. That's not correct, but I'm going to keep reading the article, okay? Megan sued Milagro Cooper, whom she accused of making false claims about her and promoting a sexually explicit deepfake video of her. Cooper's attorney, Rhonda Dixon, says it was during that civil trial that she reviewed Megan's medical records as part of the evidence. Dixon was in touch with Lanez's attorney, Crystal Morgan, because Lanez gave a deposition in the civil case. She alerted Morgan to a document that Lanez's team says was not in the medical records it was provided during his 2022 trial. It's missing from our date-stamped official copy of evidence from the criminal trial, which is significant because this particular piece of paper says that they removed fragments and placed them in bags and gave them to a security guard that works at Cedars-Sinai, Morgan said Wednesday. NBC News has seen a document that appears to be a pathology report from Cedars-Sinai. The document, dated July 14, 2020, says a security employee picked up an evidence bag with a quote-unquote foreign body. The document doesn't list Megan's name, nor does it describe what the foreign body is. It does list Megan's date of birth. Morgan now questions whether the bags contain bullet fragments, where those fragments are, and why they were never turned over to Lanez's defense. A lack of disclosure of the documents and evidence bags could be a potential violation of Lanez's due process rights under the Brady rule, Morgan said. The reason why this evidence is significant is because under Brady v. Maryland, we could have, as a defense, come up with a different alternative theory, Morgan said, and we didn't have that chance, or perhaps we could have questioned the doctors differently when they are on the stand to impeach them, because it does look suspicious. The Los Angeles County DA's office didn't respond to requests for a comment on the allegation. Lanez's team will have to prove not only that the evidence was withheld during this trial, but also that it was favorable to his defense and could have swayed the outcome of the case, according to NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris. It's a very high threshold and often unsuccessful, she said. This is a really difficult appellate argument for defendants to prove because they have to show if the evidence actually came into court, the jury would have found differently, Maris said. It's an uphill battle, and it's something that often torpedoes any defense appellate argument. An attorney for Megan didn't respond to requests for comment. She has previously spoken out about the case, saying in a documentary last year that the shooting and the trial deeply affected her mental health. Megan said that she experienced harassment online from bloggers and gossip sites, as well as threats to her physical safety. She obtained a restraining order against Lanez after she alleged that she was using surrogates to harass her from prison. If it wasn't me and I was on the outside looking in and something happened to me, I wouldn't want to come forward, she said in Megan Thee Stallion, in her words. If this famous lady can have this happen to her and nothing get done about it, what the F does that say for a person who is just a civilian who don't have the resources to fight? I guess that's what Megan said in her documentary. Anyway. Lanez said he feels the case has painted him as a monstrous person who he isn't, and insisted that he would never be violent towards women. His time in prison has traumatized him, he said, noting that he nearly died this year after he was stabbed more than a dozen times. Truthfully, I've done my best to keep my head above water, but mentally I've gone through a trauma that sometimes I even struggle with, Lanez said, because I've never imagined myself dealing with things that I would have to deal with. Okay, so before I get into the news clip and I actually play the interview that they had with Tory Lanez, I did want to point out that I think it's very interesting the way that these medical records were obtained. So it literally states in the article that Milagro Graham's attorney, Rhonda Dixon, while working on Milagro's case, was actually going through Megan's medical records, and she discovered a document that Tory Lanez's defense team hadn't seen during their 2022 trial. So Rhonda turned over this document to Crystal Morgan, the attorney that's working on Tory Lanez's appeal. I want to reiterate that this particular document, it states that they removed fragments and put them in evidence bags and then gave them to a security guard that works at the hospital. And they said that the document is dated July 14th, 2020, and it just said that the evidence bag had a foreign body in it. Now, this document didn't even have Megan's name on it, nor did it explain what the quote-unquote foreign body was. It just said it had a foreign body, and that was it. So now what Tory Lanez's attorney, Crystal Morgan, is saying is basically they don't know what was in the bag. And she wants to know why these fragments or foreign bodies were not given to the defense for them to examine. And she's saying that that is a Brady violation because that violated Tory Lanez's due process during his criminal trial. Crystal Morgan also pointed out that the whole thing looks suspicious, and I have to agree with her. I think it looks very suspicious because what do you mean the document said it was a foreign body and it didn't even have her name on it? And it said that it was given to a security guard. So after reading all of this and taking all of this in and thinking about everything, I have a few thoughts on this situation. So my first thought on this situation was like, okay, why didn't they bring any of this up with the bullet fragments? Why wasn't this brought up during his initial appeal? Because, you know, his appeal was denied back in November. I just feel like this situation here with the bullet fragments and not being able to locate them, this was a problem from day one. So my first thought is really just like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me why they didn't lean into that from the beginning, because I feel like that was probably the strongest argument they could have made. That's in my opinion, I think that's a strong argument. I feel like during his appeal that took place last month, they focused on the more trivial aspects of his criminal trial. I don't remember exactly what Crystal Morgan had argued was a Brady violation, but I do remember feeling like it was a good argument, but I just don't feel like it was the strongest argument that they could have made. I feel like this right here with the fragments, that is the strong point. Because not only are we talking about missing evidence, but we're also talking about things not having been turned over to the defense during the criminal trial, which is a huge problem, like massive problem, because that can indicate that certain evidence was being suppressed or hidden. But I took a second and I kind of thought about it for a little minute, and I came to the conclusion that I really think the real reason why they did not come out the gate with this argument is because I think his team was nervous. I genuinely believe that they were afraid. I'm not saying that, they had been threatened in any way or anything like that, but I just feel like there was something holding them back because they were not comfortable making that argument because they were afraid of who they were going up against. I genuinely think they were nervous, and I know you're probably thinking, well, what changed? Like, why would they be comfortable coming out and saying all this now? Well, I think they're saying something now because they got their hands on some evidence, or they saw something that wasn't seen before. So I think now they feel emboldened to come up more against Megan this time because of whatever they saw in her medical records. So yeah, they said that they found a document in her medical records that was never turned over to the defense during Tory's criminal trial, but I don't think that's the only thing they found. I think they might have found some other things that may allegedly point to some inconsistencies regarding Megan and her injuries. Now, I could be wrong. This is just a theory. This is just my opinion, but I personally feel like Tory's team, they found something. And whatever they found, I think it's strong because it made them feel more empowered to shed light on the inconsistencies. And it may not just be inconsistencies as far as statements that Megan has made, but I'm talking about inconsistencies within her medical records and just, the nature of her injuries, that sort of thing. And I also want to mention that peep how in Tory's interview, he said something that kind of stuck out to me. He was like, basically he said that he didn't want Megan to take any of this as an attack on her, because it's not. It's really just about him fighting for his freedom. And I thought it was really interesting that he said that. And I saw on X, some of his fans were upset because they felt like Tory is still showing Megan grace, even though they feel like she completely railroaded him and lied on him. They're frustrated because they feel like he's still protecting her and still being nice. But I don't know. I took something different away from that. I didn't take that way. I took him saying that as him kind of giving her a heads up, hey, we might low-key start calling you out a little bit, but don't think that it's personal or that we're trying to attack you, but really it's just it is what it is. Because my thing is why would Tory fighting for his freedom make Megan feel attacked? And I feel like the only way that's possible is if she did something that she had no business doing. I really think the writing is on the wall based on how his attorney was talking about those missing fragments. I just feel like now they're gonna start leaning into Megan and some of the things that she's done and some inconsistencies, and I don't think they're gonna be interested in sparing her reputation anymore. I think at this point the gloves are coming off. And notice how the LA district attorney declined to comment on this situation, and so did Megan Thee Stallion and her attorneys. They declined to comment. I think that's very interesting because Megan has been so loud about who shot her and what happened to her and everything, and the fact that NBC is reaching out to them to make a comment and they're declining to say anything at all, I don't think that's a good sign. So I'm going to go ahead and insert the clip of Tory's interview with NBC before I give my concluding thoughts.
We're back now with an exclusive interview with rapper Tory Lanez, currently serving a 10-year prison sentence after he was found guilty in the 2020 shooting of Megan Thee Stallion. Tonight, Lanez's lawyers say there was evidence not presented in the initial trial as they argue for his release. Here's NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas.
Tonight, rapper Tory Lanez breaking his silence in his first ever broadcast interview from behind bars since being found guilty of shooting Grammy winner Megan Thee Stallion in the foot outside a party in 2020.
I've never been violent towards a woman. I would never hit a woman, let alone shoot a woman.
Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, spoke to NBC News from California Men's Colony, a prison where he's 3 years into a 10-year sentence after being found guilty on 3 felony counts, including assault with a semi-automatic firearm.
There is definitely a very big misconception about me that seems to the public as I'm this monster. And I feel like I was catapulted into this poster child for the unprotection of Black women. And it's just so unlike me. And I've never really had a chance to express that. But you can look at my criminal record. I don't have one. I never had one. And I feel like, that connotation that I would do anything of this monstrous proportion is just, it's completely incorrect. It's wrong.
Lanez declined to testify during his 2022 trial.
Do you regret not taking the stand?
I think if I would have taken the stand, the verdict would have definitely been very different.
The rapper's legal team filed an appeal, which was denied in November. But his team is continuing to fight, with plans to file multiple appeals next week, this time with the California Supreme Court, in one claiming newly discovered evidence that they weren't provided during Lanez's 2022 trial, including hundreds of pages of medical records for Megan Thee Stallion, whose real name is Megan Pete, which they allege raise questions about the fragments removed from her foot after surgery. His team argues that the fragments were not provided ahead of trial and that this was a violation of due process.
And we didn't have that chance. Or perhaps we could have questioned the doctors differently when they were on stand to impeach them, because it does look suspicious.
But in the appeal denied in November, the court did address the fragments, ruling that the surgeon's testimony was, quote, more than sufficient to prove great bodily injury on Pete. Proving something like this on appeal is tough.
This is a really, really difficult appellate argument for defendants to prove, because they have to show if the evidence actually came into court, the jury would have found differently. It's an uphill battle, and it's something that often torpedoes any defense appellate argument.
The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office and representatives for Megan Thee Stallion have not responded to NBC News' request for comment.
I believe not only that I was wrongfully convicted, but the amount of new evidence that has emerged since that trial, I think, has been overwhelming.
What has life been like in prison for the last couple of years?
Truthfully, I've done my best to keep my head above water, but mentally, I've gone through trauma that I sometimes even struggle with, because I've never imagined myself dealing with things that I would have to deal with. I've been stabbed 17 times. I almost lost my life.
If you could say something to Megan Thee Stallion today, what would it be?
I think that I wouldn't say something directly to her. I would like that moment to happen in person. We've both gone through a lot. There's this connotation that, like, I share this hatred for her, but I don't. I genuinely passed that. I'm at a place of healing in my life. I'm at a place of taking accountability for the things that I did wrong. And when I talk about my case, I don't want it to be taken as me coming at her, because it's not that. I'm just asking for somebody in the system to look at my case and look at the evidence and ask if this was fair.
And with that, Chloe Malas joins us now on set. So, Chloe, Tory Lanez is also seeking a pardon from Governor Gavin Newsom?
That's right. His legal team has filed the necessary paperwork, and it is before the governor now. So they're seeking either a pardon where his criminal record will be wiped clean, he would be released from prison, or to have his sentence commuted, meaning that the time he has served is sufficient, and release him, but that doesn't change his criminal record. As for when this could happen, the governor typically does these twice a year, so this could happen before the new year.
All right. Chloe Malas.
So notice how the news anchor said the paperwork that Gavin Newsom would need to sign to pardon Tory Lanez is literally already on his desk. And she also mentioned that clemency could be granted as early as the new year, which is in like 2 weeks. So now I will say I have absolutely no faith in Gavin Newsom at all whatsoever. I think that dude is probably as corrupt as they come. Honestly, he should be in prison. Like, I don't know how he expects to run for president in 2028. But yeah, I have absolutely no faith in Gavin Newsom. So I'm not really holding my breath. I don't anticipate that he will make the right decision. I think that if he does, by some miracle, grant clemency for Tory Lanez, I think that that would have only happened as a result of somebody like twisting his arm or making him do it, but I don't see him just coming out the gate and doing the right thing. So I'm not too hopeful that the governor will sign off on that, but I'm also never going to say never. So Tory Lanez's team will be filing an appeal at the California Supreme Court So while I'm not hopeful that Gavin Newsom will do the right thing, I am going to have a little bit of hope and faith in the California Supreme Court that maybe they will look at whatever the appellate court missed. And I also want to say that whatever new evidence Tory's team has or whatever they discovered in Megan's medical records, I do believe we will get more information on that when the appeal is filed. So whatever they have, we should be finding out about it pretty soon, because they did say that they would be filing multiple appeals next week. So I would say as early as next week, we could know if they have any insider knowledge or any information or anything that like the public hasn't seen before. We might find out about it when the paperwork actually gets filed. So of course, I don't know for a fact what they have, or if, you know, anything that they will put in the appeal will incriminate Megan or make her look bad or expose her in any way. I don't know, but I am just assuming, based on the fact that Megan nor the DA has put out a statement in regards to these missing bullet fragments and suspicious activity. I don't know. I think they might have something on her, and I think that maybe these people are a little nervous, which is why they're not saying anything. But what do I know? I'm just speculating from the outside looking in, and all of this is my opinion, so please don't try to sue me, okay? Anyways, I just wanted to thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments, what do you think about my theory? Do you think they have something on Megan? Do you think they discovered something that maybe the public doesn't know about? Why do you feel like his team is a little bit more emboldened now to take it there? Because it seems like they weren't really willing to do that at first. So just let me know what you think. If you agree, give me a like. If you disagree, give me a dislike. Just give me something. And yeah, so I will make sure I come back with any updates. I'll probably do another video on this probably next week, once the appeal gets filed. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.